Who has a... Speaking of terrible DMs, who has a 100-word summary of whatever I put you guys through last week?
Just got charmed. Walked into the ocean.
He did.
We got the key to this room right here, and I had fun. Oh, also, I was unfailingly polite. Don't forget that.
I forgot it.
I'm reminding you. The magic harp that's keeping.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Killing everybody on the ship.
Okay, I don't think Wendy broke the magic harp. I'm thinking somebody else broke the magic harp.
I fixed the magic harp.
I think we're gonna get blamed for breaking the magic harp.
Yes,
I don't think we
that's
did
exactly
it.
what's going to happen.
What was the significance of this magic harp?
It protects from sirens, and then oh no, sirens!
That's an by the way, incredibly specific magic item. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
It's a device that does exactly what the DM needs it to.
I mean, every magic item is incredibly specific.
I'm just imagining like a wizard with like an ex-siren girlfriend. It's just like, I got her.
Wait, an ex-siren girlfriend? So a girlfriend who used to be a siren and isn't? Is that
an ex-girlfriend who was a siren?
Is there like some polymorph issue here?
Well, I mean, there's always some polymorphism.
I actually designed the siren encounter when I first started designing like the deceit. As just as an encounter to kind of throw in wherever. And it wasn't until I played Oberdin that I'm like, yeah, it's time to pull out these sirens. It's time to get them out of the box. So who broke the harp?
We don't know. That's probably what this session is about.
We discovered the.
I'm thinking it's Quaz Ginkle.
We found a note. That's what Brickroad's fishing for. It was a note.
Yeah. We also did find the note.
Well, see, here's the thing: is you can't trust notes.
We found a spoopy note. That's what it was. It was very spoopy because it's the guy that supposedly doesn't exist. He's all like, "I know what you did
last summer." Yeah, high five, Nodal.
High five.
You don't deserve a high five.
Too late.
Listen, Nodal's dumb jokes are the best thing about playing with Nodal.
Who made you the arbiter of high fives?
So yeah, the captain is... When he sees how big of a deal these sirens actually were, when he sees the damage they actually caused, he says that the deceit is supposedly protected against these types of enchantments because they have a magic harp in the hold. I said magic harp, not magic harp, Pokey Dude. I know you're in the chat.
Oh.
That's supposed to protect the deceit against these kinds of enchantments. And that's where we ended it last week.
Yep.
And so we'll pick up one moment later. He starts moving down into the hole.
Adrex grips quietly.
Raazu goes down with him.
Okay.
Listen, we didn't know it was supposed to be missing a string. We thought it was broken.
Can I get out of this net, please?
Is it that the missing string breaks their voice? Is that what it does?
I thought that Sweetie Bird cut you free.
She did.
Did she?
And she's setting to work, because you guys dragged a couple of these sirens on board the ship. 2 of them.
I think there's 2, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Question before we go any further. Eating the sirens, is that cannibalism or is that sashimi?
It's delicious.
Is because they're shaped like they're shaped like people and they're sentient.
Cannibalism would be if Birdie ate a kobold.
They're not shaped like me.
Okay. I'll accept that answer. Right, go on. Continue.
Armor is very heavy. I don't know if you guys know this.
No, it is.
Why do you wear it?
It protects me.
Why don't you just be faster? Like, instead of being where the sword is, just not be there.
Can you teach me how? I'd like to not be where the sword is all the time.
Sure, do you have 3 years and wings?
No.
Might I suggest retiring from your current occupation and settling down somewhere as a brewer in a quiet corner of the world with no swords?
Or kobolds.
That's ridiculous. No swords. Why would you even suggest that?
And at this point, you arrive down at the room marked Beta. The captain fishes out his key, undoes the magic holding the lock of the door, opens it up. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a complete disaster area, like a 5-year-old's bedroom, and a 10 being an immaculately kept and pristine library, what state did you guys leave this hold in after you played around in here?
Listen, Red was there, so it can't be a 1.
I feel like, honestly, Red was there, so it's probably better sorted than it was when we went there.
I mean, realistically, I think it would be as close to looking like we were never there as possible.
Except now all the
So
wands are assorted by color.
Size, shape, material, and color.
All the potions are sorted by viscosity.
Right. Okay. Yeah, he goes into the hold, and you guys left it in pretty decent condition. And he finds the harp where Wendy had... Well, where did Wendy put the harp when she was done with it?
Probably in the center of the room.
Okay.
Because I was planning on going back there and trying to figure out how to get it to work.
He picks it up and looks at the harp, and immediately notices the aftermarket additions. And he plucks at it once or twice, and it doesn't make much of a sound, because it's a bowstring.
It's magic bowstring, when
And he says,
Raazu.
"Is this a bowstring?"
It's a magic bowstring.
Raazu face palms, and then points for Wendy to leave.
No, what? Listen, like I said, I thought that it was broken, and I was fixing it. I didn't realize that, like, the string not being there was what broke their voice. My bad.
He tells you to back up a moment, and you can see that Captain Eyes is taking this situation very seriously.
Yeah.
And that strikes you because this is not a man that seems to take much of anything very seriously, moment to moment. He asks you what you mean by, as far as, like, it was missing a string.
It was just the string where the bowstring is now. It wasn't there.
Birdie nods his
Correct
head.
me if I'm wrong, but it said that the string was completely broken. Like there was a string in place, but it was...
There was a
Oh,
string
is
in
that
place,
how it
but it
was?
was snapped.
So that's what Wendy will say. The string was snapped.
Birdie will dig for the broken string and hand it to the captain.
What did Wendy do with the broken string?
Probably put it where the harp was originally.
Okay.
I didn't think it was very important.
The captain takes the harp string in one hand, the harp in the other, and he says that last time he was in this room, the harp and all of its strings were intact. If they weren't, he would not have made for these waters. The trip would be too dangerous.
When did you last check?
And he tells you it was a matter of hours before he gave you access to this room.
Birdie raises his hand.
And he says, dispense with that,
Okay.
and say what you will.
Quasginkle was actually hanging around outside the door when I came down here.
But I didn't see him in here.
Yeah, he wasn't in, and the door was locked when I came down here, but he was
Birdie.
watching the... What?
Birdie, did you
What?
break this?
No, I was here. He didn't break it.
He asks which of you is carrying the coin amongst your number.
Probably Adrex.
Mm-hmm.
He looks at Adrex.
Adrex looks back. Oh, you want me to pull out my coin? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Adrex fishes for the money. Is it there?
Oh, you have your money. He tells you to give him 200 gold.
Adrex shrugs. All right.
Okay. And he says he's going to ask Ned Noakes to call upon all the men to the top deck. And he expects you all to appear as well. And he takes your 200 gold and he strides from the room.
I already took it off the loot sheet. So.
Did we just get robbed?
Probably. I mean, this is the second time they've done that. You didn't get your sword back.
No, I did get my sword back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all got our equipment back. So
I can't edit this. Oh, wait. Yeah, I can't edit this thing.
Oh, that's weird.
It's probably because I'm logged in as a different account.
Oh, you're the wombat. All right.
The way I solve that problem is I have one Google account for my work computer and one
There we
Google
go.
account for my laptop, and I don't switch them ever.
Nice.
It's the only way I can live my life.
Raazu takes a deep breath and says, well, grab your ankles. Starts walking upstairs.
And about this time, you hear the call from
I have no
above
idea.
deck. Ned Noakes is calling for an assembly of all hands.
Let's go see what he wants.
At this point, Adrex would have taken off his armor,
Okay.
but not put anything back on, so it's just pants. Right now.
Okay, so Adrex is still wearing pants. That's good to know.
Yeah, that was an important circle we needed to close.
Yes, it is. Very important.
Oh, I just made a mistake. Oh my goodness.
What'd you do?
I just grabbed a cloth off my desk to go blow my nose. But it was the cloth that I used to wipe my hands after I ate a buffalo chicken quesadilla last night.
Oh god.
And I got buffalo sauce in my nose.
Oh,
jeez.
no.
And the life is
That's
horrible. It's really bad.
Oh,
We're
no.
gonna soldier on.
Don't die, Bertrand.
I can't make any promises. But that's the dumbest thing I've done all day. Okay. Up on the top deck. The main deck.
Bless you, sir.
As far as you can tell, everybody is here. At this point, the last remnants of the combat on the ship are being cleaned away. All hands are accounted for. Nobody was lost during the attack, except very nearly Adrex. Oh, that's horrible.
Horrible that Adrex survived? Man, you're mean, Bertrand.
No, it's horrible that I burned the hell out of my nose with friggin' buffalo sauce. Ah, okay. The captain addresses the crew. He holds up in one hand the broken heart. At this point, he has removed the bowstring. So in one hand, he's holding the broken heart, and the other is he's holding the snapped bowstring, or the snapped harp string, rather. I don't know the material difference between the two, but I'm assuming one would not work as the other.
Listen, I couldn't tell you. Catgut, magic.
Yeah.
He says that the deceit has many loyal men in its service. I've known many of you for many years. We fought countless battles together, saved each other's lives, shared riches. We've shared the sweet taste of victory. We've conferred many friends fallen in combat to the embrace of the ocean.
Raazu looks a little embarrassed.
Together we have endured the politics of the Kovnos. We have endured watered-down grog. We have endured attacks by enemies and beasts and everything in between. For the first time in my recollection, we now endure a saboteur amongst our crew. One of you is guilty of sabotaging this item, which protects our ship from dangerous enchantments. And he casts his gaze. You can tell he's not looking at anybody in particular. And you can't see his gaze at all because he's wearing his smoked black glasses over his eyes. Nonetheless, you all get the feeling that for a moment during this whole saboteur speech, he is staring directly at you. Windy, you're standing there listening to this, and you're like, I can't see this guy, but he's staring directly at me.
It's really dramatic. Windy has a feel for drama at this point.
Adrex, being Adrex, is completely oblivious and just scratches his butt.
Okay.
That's where the bowstring is.
That's where the bowstring ended up. That bowstring's not usable anymore, by the way. You're not going to be able to string a bow with it after this.
I'm stringing something with it.
That he has a purse of 400 gold pieces collected together that he will offer to the first man who steps forward with valuable information identifying the saboteur.
I'm waiting for it. Like, Quasginkle's going to come up and blame me, isn't he?
Actually takes you a few moments to find Quasginkle. For a few moments, you're thinking, he's not here. He didn't come. Go ahead and roll a perception check. What was that sound? That was horrifying.
19 perception.
19?
That's the sound of 19 perception.
Is that the sound of inadvertently snorting buffalo sauce? Or is it just me that does that?
I do my buffalo sauce straight up on purpose. Be a man.
Extremely vertently.
You notice Quasginkle on the deck. And he's not standing amongst the crewmen, which you would expect. He's actually standing back here, close to Rhodos, the wizard, alchemist, and thaumaturge. And you can't be certain, but you've never seen these two in proximity together, but it almost looks like this assembly was called in the middle of their conversation. And that does strike you as rather odd. Captain Ice finishes his speech by telling him that the traitor in this matter will know no quarter and no mercy. And then he dismisses you. And he and Calcine head back into his quarters. And the crew begins to kind of murmur and mumble amongst themselves. Lots of eyeballs cast in your direction from lots of different people. And eventually the crew goes back about its work.
Birdie points at Quasginkle, make sure that everybody in my group sees them, and says, for those of you, like, when I was down there, Quasginkle was by the door. If he's not responsible, he might have seen somebody else go in there.
I caught his ass down there.
Do you have that note, too? Like, maybe it matches someone's handwriting.
What note?
We found a note. But I'll nudge it, Birdie.
Do I have the note? I'll just start digging through my pants pockets and just pull out a wadded note.
Okay.
It says, I know what you did. And it's signed, I don't remember the guy's name.
Flummox Snee.
So, clearly it's not actually signed by him, but they might have given away their handwriting.
And by the time Birdie points him out, I mean, Quasginkle is already heading down below deck as soon as the captain dismisses him.
Assuming it's not a joke by the captain, which is why I didn't bring it up now while he was asking on the ship.
Seems to be that would be his sense of humor, but
Let's just go show it to him in private. And Wendy will start striding off.
Okay, so you're going to take the note to the captain, bring it to his attention?
Raazu's going to break off from that, and she's going to keep an eye on Rhodos.
On who?
Nice.
On Rhodos, and you said Quasginkle went below deck?
Quasginkle went below deck. Rhodos went back into his quarters.
Raazu nudges Red and tells him, find out what the goblin's up to. And then she heads off to find Rhodos.
Birdie will go with Wendy in case she needs somebody that can actually see.
That would be helpful.
And so Red, are you going to keep an eye on Quasginkle?
Yeah, I'll just shadow him.
And what is Adrex doing?
Adrex will join Wendy and Birdie on presentation of this note since he has not seen it before.
Atrix is going to do donuts in the parking lot.
Okay. Raazu, as you cross the deck and you begin to approach the area of the ship where Rhodos is situated, Ned Noak steps forth to intercept you. And he
look at him,
crosses his arms. And I mean, this man never has given you a pleasant look the entire time you've known him. But these days, he almost looks at you with complete disgust ever since you came back from the dead. And he doesn't like step in to intercept your path, but he does look like he has something to say to you.
What do you want, Noakes?
He says, this is a sorry business. Treason and sabotage.
Indeed it is.
You and yours wouldn't know anything about it, would you?
Raazu looks at him. Raazu looks at him for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then says, why? Do you know something?
He says, I know this. The deceit was better off before the captain hauled any of you aboard. I don't know what sweet and tender lies you've told him to get him so thoroughly on your side, but I intend to break him of you. And then he spits on the deck and shoulders brusquely past you.
Okay. Raazu watches him go down below, or does he go below deck, or does he stay on deck?
No, he's out on the main deck, and he starts doing his quartermaster thing.
Okay, Raazu will watch him for a minute and then continue to go find Rhodos.
Okay. As you step back into Rhodos's quarters, he is in the process of moving quite a lot of his equipment and stuff that he has here in this room here into his shop. He's got a couple of the lesser crewmen in here helping him with this task. One of the orcs, one of the bugbears, doing most of the heavy lifting. And when he sees you, he doesn't look too happy at all. But
Raazu looks very grave as well.
If he's upset or angry, he doesn't let on. He merely wishes you a good morning, and it was a close call your friends had with the sirens. I'm glad that they're all right.
Yeah. You
No, don't move that there. You're going to... That is... He starts berating the bugbears for scuffing up his furniture as they're sliding it along the deck.
Bad time.
Because I've been informed by the captain that you and your companions will be taking over what was my lounge. He's referring to this room here. He's given me until sundown today to have... Well, I'm accustomed to being spread out, as you see. It's going to be a period of adjustment.
Space is at a premium.
As you can see, though, I'm very busy overseeing this very delicate work. Don't drop that! So if there was something that I could help you with...
I would like to know more about how you came on board the Deceit. How you came to work in the captain's employ.
Make a persuasion check.
Uh, 22.
22.
Yeah.
Rhodos is a man who always really loves talking about himself.
Mm-hmm.
But today, he's just not in the mood. You can see him start to answer your question. He makes some references to various members of his clan being skilled in binding magics. And after this, he simply catches himself and he says, "Look, I have a long day ahead of me. Perhaps later we can share a bottle of wine, tell each other our life stories. But as for now, I need to make sure that these brutish, over-muscled nincompoops don't damage any of my delicate equipment."
Very well, carry on.
Red.
Mm-hmm.
You follow Quasginkle below deck. He heads back into the crew quarters, in the back here, into the cots. Are you trying to make sure that you're not seen?
I'm trying to make sure that I'm not noticed. I don't mind if he sees me. I don't want him to think that I'm following him.
All right, make a stealth check.
That would be a 22.
22. Okay. It's pretty much impossible to avoid notice. I mean, there's just not enough physical space. But
Yep.
He goes back to the crew quarters and closes the door.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't extremely surprising. I mean, it's getting into mid-morning now, and he's a goblin. He gets to sleep during the day.
Yeah. Well, given that I was previously on the night shift too, I will, I don't think we've been back at sea long enough for it to really be whether Red's asleep during the day or during the night. I'll just go back there and grab a cot for myself.
Okay. I mean, by the time you get here, he's already laying down in his hammock. And he has his blanket pulled up over his head.
Mm-hmm.
Just swaying with the rocking of the ship.
Yeah, I'll just find an open cot and jump in myself. And keep an eye on him, but not necessarily fall asleep immediately.
Birdie, Windy, and Adrex.
Yeah.
That's me.
You knock on the door, going into the captain's quarters, and he bids you enter.
And Birdie will go, or Windy will go in.
Okay. And when you come in, he tells you, I've instructed Rhodos to clear out one of the 2 rooms that I've given him when he came onto the boat in my employ. This will be a space for you and your companions. It'll be 5 of you to a room, but less cramped than the quarters you're currently accustomed to. Of course, I made this decision before I had reason to suspect one of you may have broken my harp.
Well, and Wendy will just listen to that for a moment, decide most of it's not super important, and say, "We have something to tell you," and hand over the note that she took from Birdie.
Okay.
And say, "We found this in the room. At the time, we assumed it was possibly a prank of yours, but now we were thinking, if it's not, maybe whoever left this left their handwriting on it. Maybe we can use that to figure out which of the crew broke the harp."
Red.
Mm-hmm.
The door opens, and one of the kobolds strides in. I mean, it's not Nem. I guess I can delete Nem off of this sheet.
Yeah, he's officially dead.
He's gone. One of the kobolds strides into the room and takes a cot opposite yours. And he spends a moment and he tries to strike a candle with a flint. And it doesn't ignite. And he tries 2 or 3 more times. You hear the sound of the flint striking his knife. And he can't get a spark. And he kind of mutters a curse under his breath. And he takes up the candle, and he strides back out and closes the door. This also strikes you as strange, because you've never seen somebody have difficulty striking a candle before.
Mm-hmm.
The captain looks over the note. He reads it out loud. He asks where you found it.
And I'll say we found it on one of the shelves in the storeroom. That is where we found it, right?
Yeah, you found it in the magical storeroom.
Yeah.
It was a scroll. It was one of the scrolls.
And we found it amongst the scrolls.
He asks you if this is the first contact you've had with Snee.
Isn't he like a crew joke? Like a prank?
Most of the crew believe him to be a boogeyman, if that's what you mean.
Do you believe in him?
He says Snee is very, very real.
Did he break your harp?
It's possible, but unlikely.
Do you think he knows who broke your heart?
His note seems to suggest that he does.
Can we ask him?
The captain says Flummox Snee is a soul that makes contact in his own time. Red.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you hear the handle on the door jostle a few times, and it won't open. And this is strange, because this door doesn't have a lock on it. It can't be locked. And then you hear a pounding on the other side a couple moments. Oh, let me in!
Else? Is there anyone else in here besides me and the goblin?
At the moment, just you and Quasginkle. The other people who would be sleeping would be... There are, well, 1 kobold, and there are 2 rat folk aboard the vessel, but they are currently... I mean, they had their end-of-shift meal interrupted because they had to go up on deck and fight off these sirens because they're the only 2 female hands.
Okay. Yeah, I'll come out of my cot and go over there and try and open the door.
And you take your hand and you press it on the latch, and you realize you can't open it either. It's like it feels like it's locked.
Can I use my thieves' tools to try and get inside the latch and open it without unlocking it, like try and force it open?
Now, there's no actual mechanism. There's nowhere to actually put your thieves' tools. There's no keyhole. Nothing like that. It just won't open. And the voice on the other side of the door just curses, and you hear somebody stomp off.
Can I disassemble the latch with thieves' tools?
Start disassembling the door. Make that check.
Yeah.
Up in the captain's quarters. Captain tells you that there was one occasion where Rhodos felt the need to attempt to speak with Snee. And he doesn't know the particulars. He doesn't know the details. Mostly Rhodos is left to his own devices, but he thinks perhaps the Yak Man may have caused him some offense. After that happened, there was a noticeable uptick in minor accidents aboard the vessels, ropes coming loose, barrels toppling over, food being poisoned is too strong of a word. What is the word you use when you don't want to kill a man with his soup, but you do want him to have the shits?
Poisoned?
Well, fair enough. But that was that was very nearly a year ago.
What does he do on the ship? Why do you put up with that?
He tells you to think of the deceit like a very old house that has had many tenants over the years. And over time, the house itself gains character. Shadows of those who previously lived there tend to hang about, overseeing it, never quite letting go.
Wendy puts a talon on the bridge of her beak. Says, "Are you saying he's a ghost? I want you to be honest with me."
We're in Baba Yaga's hut.
He says that Rhodos doesn't like using the term ghost to refer to Flummox
God.
Snee.
Ghosts can't write on scrolls.
Red, how'd that roll go? That thieves'
How much
tools check.
experience do you have with ghosts?
I got a 30.
A 30. It's like when I'm playing my rogue, I love not being able to roll below like a 26 on any ability check. But when I'm the DM, I just hate it so much.
Good for me, not for thee, huh, Brick?
Yeah, this is my... I lose sleep attempting to rationalize this to myself. Yeah, after a few moments, you disassemble the latch on the door and it comes loose. And with some force, you manage to kind of seesaw it out of place. And you realize that even though you've disassembled it, it's still something's holding it fast. It feels like something strong is grabbed onto the other end of the latch and is pulling on it as you're trying to pull it out of the hole in the door.
Can I take a length of stiff wire from my kit and just run around the entire frame of the door and see if there's anything like from the above or the side that's kind of like a bar going through it?
Other than the latch itself holding the doors closed, no, you don't find anything like that.
Okay.
I mean, the hinges on one side of the door.
Yeah.
But
Are the hinges on this side or on the other side?
This door would open outward into the hallway, so the hinges are on the other side.
Are there any other exits to this room?
No, there's not even a... Well, I guess it would be a porthole, wouldn't there? There's not one on the
south,
map.
And center.
Yeah, there might not be. It's a small enough chamber.
Oh, you know what? Part of this deck might be below the water line.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not even a porthole in this room. It's dark. It's completely dark in here. Yeah, you run the wire through and you don't feel anything physically holding the door. It just refuses to open.
Something. I think I had a candle, and I think I lost it when my bag exploded. Like, I won't need that. I have dark vision. I do not have a candle anymore. So let's grab a, like... Can I find any, like, scrap cloth or anything around here? Something to make a small... Not even a torch, just...
Yeah, looking around, I mean, you could find candles in the room. I mean, there's a lot of personal effect. If you don't mind swiping one from somebody else.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to grab a candle and try and light it with my own tinderbox.
Okay. And you attempt to, and it doesn't light. It refuses to spark. And as you're doing this, you realize you can no longer hear the ever-present, just like croaking of the deck and the water, the sounds of the ocean just outside. You realize as you're doing this, you're sitting in silence.
Let's go ahead and pull out my horn of silent alarm and blow it so that Windy can hear it.
Okay. Windy.
Yeah.
You've asked the captain, come on, be straight with me, is he a ghost? And the captain says, you know, my thaumaturge doesn't like to call him a ghost. And just as you're like, oh my god, you hear the horn, Red's horn, blow.
And Windy will raise a wing, say, sorry, Captain, something's wrong. And turn towards Adrex and, Birdie, and say, Red just blew the horn. Do you remember where he was going?
Captain Eyes asks what you mean by Red just blew the horn.
He has a horn that he can use to warn us when something's going wrong.
He says, that sounds like a very handy item to have.
Don't get any bright ideas. You gave our magic stuff back.
He says, it does wound me somewhat to learn that we still have secrets between us, Windy.
What secrets? It's a horn. You had a mysterious harp in the hole. You didn't tell us anything.
Adrex and Birdie, what are you guys doing?
You just told us that a ghost haunts this ship, so...
Wait, no, we gotta stop this argument. Something's wrong with Red.
Right. So I'm going to take out my pirate trinket, which I am now going to claim. It is a small wind-up spider that when you wind it up, it crawls forward and shoots sparks out of its mouth.
Okay.
And I'm going to wind it up and see if anything happens.
So, this isn't a magical item.
No, it's a toy. It's probably got a little piece of flint in it.
Okay. And you wind it up, and does it like walk? Does it skitter around?
It walks forward, and little sparks come out of its mouth.
And you hear the clattering of its little spider legs hitting the floor, but no, the sparks don't come forth. Raazu, as you're leaving Rhodos' quarters, coming back out onto the deck, just kind of having an unpleasant run-in with Ned Noakes, followed immediately by a very unsatisfying brush-off from Rhodos, you see your companions coming out of the captain's door with some urgency.
Raazu joins them. What's going on?
Something's going on with Red. He blew the horn.
Yeah.
Oh, so Raazu quickens her pace, goes down below toward the crew quarters.
Okay. And when you get to the door, I mean, it looks like somebody's disassembled the latch and it's just kind of hanging there.
And Wendy will look at it for a moment and say, Is this a blindness thing? Is there something else there?
Raazu goes to pull the door open.
And, I mean, you can't. The latch is disassembled. You take it in your hand and just kind of limply and loosely...
I'll try to push it.
And Red, you can hear on the other side of the door if people are starting to fiddle with the latch at the time that you're gathering your spider back up.
Red, are you in there?
Do I hear that?
Yeah, you hear Wendy on the other side of the door. And, I mean, her voice is clear as a bell. It's like it startles you because it's so silent in here otherwise.
Yeah, something magical and wrong is happening.
What's wrong about it?
Fire won't work, and sound doesn't work unless it's coming from outside. And the door is jammed somehow.
Adrex charges into the door, shoulder first.
Shoulder first?
Yeah.
Let's get a strength athletics check.
All right. That is a 17.
Red, let's get a dexterity saving throw.
Is this against magic or a magical effect?
No, it's against Adrex blasting through the goddamn door.
It's a 22.
22. As soon as you tell your companions there seems to be something holding the door, like the words leave your mouth, and you're like, before this sentence is over, Adrex is going to throw his shoulder at this door, and you dive aside as Adrex blasts through it. Quasginkle starts out of sleep, and his hammock kind of spins and dumps him to the floor. Red, you're cognizant of like a moment where it just feels like air rushes into the room as very suddenly sound and color and lights swarm in as Quasginkle hits the ground and shouts out, "Bloody fucking hell!" And suddenly your spider starts shooting sparks.
You okay, Red?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Were you choking?
No.
There was no air, right?
No, there was air. It was just there was no sound.
Quasginkle stands
sound
up,
from
holding
outside.
his head. Says, "Trouble follows you lot wherever you go."
Quasginkle, you were in here. How do you know it's not following you?
Says, "I was asleep, if you must know."
Adrex stands up, brushes himself off. Very satisfied look on it.
One of the other kobolds
Look
came
what you've
in
done to
and
the fucking door.
tried to light a candle, but it wouldn't work. I couldn't get anything to start either.
And your spider's on the ground shooting its little sparks right now.
Yeah, now it works.
The hell? Think maybe another. I wasn't there for that discussion. Never mind.
So, this seems relatively harmless. Like
I don't know.
a ghost prank.
And at this point,
Like a ghost prank.
other crewmen are kind of poking their heads into the hallway, looking at this door that Adrex has just demolished.
Somebody might want to get the ship carpenter.
Adrex, you're the one who's going to talk to Runtael about this.
I did what had to be done. Red was in trouble. I got him out.
By the way, I would like to point out,
what was holding the door closed.
I think we have
There was some-
conclusively proven that Adrex is stronger than magic.
Whatever it is on this side of the door, it didn't look like it was anything. It looked like someone had taken the latch apart.
Oh no, that was me. I was trying to get it open. It was some sort of something forcing it closed from the other side, from my perspective.
Saw nothing except for the disassembled latch.
Okay, but you were there when I tried to push it open and it wouldn't. Like, so unless Red had rigged some sort of comical engine in here.
Quasginkle asks very extremely impolitely if there's any way you all could be having this conversation anywhere the fuck else. As he's climbing back into his hammock and trying to get situated again.
Yeah,
Birdie,
sure, Captain gave us a room. Let's go there.
Oh, I was gonna say, Brodos was moving his stuff out of his office or lounge or something. I don't.
He called it his
Apparently
lounge.
Apparently that's our bunk now. So as he turns to go inside the her former bunk and gather her personal effects.
Okay.
Oh, Raazu, and I'll give you the charlatan's die.
Take it.
Sorry, I didn't want that to be thrown over the side with everything else.
Fair.
And at this point, somebody has roused Runthael, and she's shown up. Typically, when you see her, she's always rushing into combat with her hammer, but now she has just a carpenter's hammer, wearing a tool belt. She looks very, very upset to have been disturbed. First, they woke her up to go up and bash some sirens, and then an hour later, they woke her up again because somebody broke a door. But she doesn't ask questions. She just gets to work repairing it.
This is Runthael, the frigging hammer.
The freaking hammer. The heckin' hammer.
Did they really need to wake her up for this?
She's
That's
the
wild.
She's the carpenter. It's her job. This is what she's here. If she doesn't do this, she doesn't earn her keep.
They could let her rest. That's just mean.
So the man that broke down the door is...
It's called hypocrisy, Brick Road. Look it up.
Runthiel's not the type of character who would get sassy with you about who is really the problem here, but if she were...
Runthiel, you seem more level-headed than most of the crew. Have you had anything like this happen on the ship before? And Wendy will go through what they experienced with the door just, like, literally being held up by magic.
She looks at Wendy like Wendy has 3 heads and is speaking an alien language. And then she looks back at Red for a moment. Looks from Red to Raazu, who have actually had some connection with Runthiel. And then back at Wendy. And then she just shakes her head gruffly and gets back to her work.
Okay. Once we're calling a meeting, once we're all situated in our new digs.
So you guys are collecting your personal effects, your bedrolls and cots and whatever, and setting up in your new digs. What is the status of this door? This is the door that's in between Rhodos' room and what was previously his lounge. Is this a door that... it does have a lock on it. Is this one that you guys are going to leave bolted?
Yes.
And I'm going to trap it.
You're going to... How so?
Like, just gonna rig up the trap that I made the other day to it, to where if somebody comes in, they'll trip on it and
Okay.
fall.
You're gonna put a bucket over the door.
Let's get a
Don't make
party
it lethal.
insight check. I'll let one of you make this check.
Already done lethal.
Home Alone paint can. Just open the door, swings down, and clocks whoever it is.
That's a much better idea than what I had.
I watched a great video where like doctors watched Home Alone and was like, yeah, that would have killed that guy. That would have
Oh yeah,
been...
he's dead.
That's sort
Iron
of trauma
falling down.
directly to the face. Like you push the cartilage of the nose into the brain, and that's like an immediate death.
You have like 5 whole seconds of blowtorch exposure to the scalp. Like what?
So what roll did you say, mate?
Insight. One of you can make an insight check.
Oh wait, who's got the highest insight?
Oh, that'd be me.
Yeah, go ahead. For some reason, I was like getting ready to roll a Tinker's Tool check.
It's 22.
Okay. Coming into this room, Red, there are very few places on the ship where you can have a private conversation, but this door here is... I mean, Rhodos is right on the other side, and Rhodos has given you every indication that if he can overhear anything interesting, he will take the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's next?
Raazu takes her effects, starts setting up dropping a bedroll. Next thing, Birdie, that trap that you're setting there, don't make it lethal. Make it so that we know that someone's in here.
Fine, I'll
Who it is?
I'll just set up a small like a small bell trap.
Okay. What was the roll on that?
I didn't roll, but I'll roll now.
Yeah, go ahead and get a roll.
So that is a proficiency. It's a 17.
17. Okay. That may be important in the future. Yeah, you guys get your personal effects moved in. You get your bed rolls laid out.
Like,
I imagine we want to like hang some hammocks or something instead.
Good. Plenty of places to hang hammocks.
do we own any hammocks?
They have plenty aboard the ship.
Like, regardless, I claim top bunk.
Top of what?
Doesn't matter. I'm just saying that if we're setting up like hammock bunks, I get top bunk. I just want that to be known.
Windy flies up to the top of the mainmast and says, "What now, bitch?" Okay, what's next?
So, Raazu looks at the rest of the crew, the rest of the party, and says, "We got to suss out who this traitor is." And we need suspects.
Okay, I got one. And I'm gonna need you guys to sit me with me on this one.
Yeah, this is wild.
Take
So apparently there's a
from her
ghost.
nose.
And you think the
Here's
ghost
the
is the
thing.
traitor?
Well, I mean, I don't know that it's a traitorous ghost. I wouldn't want to go that far.
Can a ghost break a harp string?
I have no idea what a ghost can do. Huh. I wonder what a ghost could do. How can we figure this out? Do we need to find, okay, what if we found a rat that looked like it had some stuff that it still needed to do in this life, and we killed it? And then we put it in, a maze? Do you think we could figure out what a rat ghost can
You
accomplish?
guys are just gonna let Wendy talk, aren't you? You're just gonna let her go.
We're going from there.
Raazu rubs her forehead. Tries to not think too hard about what Wendy is saying, and says, "Back into the realm of the real."
Oh yeah, let's get back into the realm of the real with the ghost. I'm just trying to point out here, we have no idea what a ghost is capable of.
Has Rose barged in yet?
No, he is not.
Okay. Because I feel like his curiosity would have really gotten the better of him at this point. Right.
Raazu knocks on the door between the adjoining door and says, if you have any thoughts, just knock on the door and we'll let you in."
So now I need to know what this trap does when Rhodos opens the door.
It'll just if he trips it just makes a bell ring.
Okay. And a few seconds pass, and then the door opens and a little bell rings, and it kind of startles him as he sees it.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Just a
We
doorbell.
like bells.
And he says that it wasn't that he was purposely overhearing anything. It's just he did happen to, in passing, while going about his work. But as it happens, he does have some ideas he might add to the conversation.
What do you know about ghosts?
And I would ask you in the future not to be dropping eaves.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we don't care.
Raazu looks very upset at that.
He makes a little show of being offended that you'd accuse him of such a thing.
Yeah, got it. But ghosts, though.
He says, "You're speaking about the ship's spirit, Flumph.
Is spirit? Is that what you like to call it? The captain mentioned you didn't like ghost.
He says that he doesn't believe... well, he's about to say that he doesn't believe in an afterlife and spirits or souls in general, but you see his eyes drift over to Raazu.
And
he
Wendy
trails
looks
off.
at that, and then looks at Raazu and goes, "Wait a second, you were just giving me shit about ghosts. You came back from the dead."
And yet here I am in the flesh. Reach out, touch my arm, Wendy.
I'm just saying, if there can be ghosts
We've met a ghost before.
And then Wendy like steps back a moment. We've met a ghost.